Low footprint theory. What is low footprint theory and how can you use it? So in this video, I'm going to explain the biggest mistake that I think guys are making when they're going out on a Friday night or a Saturday night with the intention of attracting women. So let's dive into it. What exactly is low footprint theory and how exactly can you use it? So what low footprint theory actually is it's a theory that the guys that have the most power, the guys that have the most status and are highest up on the hierarchy inside of an environment are the dudes that have the lowest footprint. Okay, so let me give you a couple of real life examples for this. If you think about a king, all right, so a king, he exists inside of a castle. Within that castle, he sits on his throne and he stays on that throne. He has a very low footprint. It's everybody else within the environment that is running around and grabbing all the things and doing all of the tasks and bringing that to him. So I want to relate how that works to your success when you go out on a Friday night or a Saturday night. Now, imagine that you don't have a social circle. Imagine that you don't have a social life and you're not getting invited to exclusive parties and events and all these different things, which you should have if you're trying to be successful with friendships and dating. But let's pretend that if you were to take all of that away from me, what would I do if I wanted to go out on a Friday or Saturday with the intention of meeting new people or attracting women? So, another example of low footprint theory that's a little bit more modern day. All right, if you think about a nightclub, for example, if you go to a nightclub, who's the person that typically has the highest level of status and is getting the most attention? Well, it's going to be the DJ, right? So, in that environment, the DJ is in one spot. He does not move. Now, he might be dancing around, he might be, moving around and emoting or whatever, but if you pay attention, it's other people that are bringing him Red Bull, that are bringing him water, that are bringing people to him. So he has a very low footprint within the environment. And another example of this is like think about the president. Now the president might be flying around. He might be getting into the Air Force One jet, and he's going country to country. I'm not saying that low footprint theory doesn't mean that you're never transporting and that you're never moving. But what I'm saying is that once you get to where you're going, you have a low footprint within the environment itself. So this is really an important concept for you to understand whenever you go out. All right. So once the president flies in and he gets to the White House, where does he go? Then he goes into the Oval Office and then he sits down at the desk. And then once he's at the desk, what happens is people start bringing him the paperwork. He stays put. He's in one spot. So he's holding court. He's got a low footprint. So let's translate that to your life. Let's translate that to your ability to go out on the weekends and have more success meeting people, making friends, attracting women, so on and so forth. Because the biggest mistake guys are making is they'll go out and they're doing a bunch of cold approaches. They're doing a bunch of circulating. They're doing the bar walk. They're doing laps around the bar. They're standing around and like you're honestly going to have a bad time. You're going to feel lost. You're not going to have success. And it's just not what you should be doing. So here's what you want to do. There's two requirements and prerequisites for this strategy to work. This is what I've been doing. I've been testing this out for a while and it's been really, really fun. I had an example that I'll give to you guys of last night. So you need a wingman, first of all. If you're going out and you're, like if you're going to try to go out and you're just all flying solo dolo, first thing you need to do is stop that. And you need to put your full focus on finding somebody to go out with, like just one wingman. Make sure that he's equally attractive to you. Make sure that he's got at least kind of like an equal level of like game and, status, like somebody that you want to think of as like your twin, basically. So you need that. And then you need to also, if you're going to spend your time, if you're going to go out on the weekends, you need to identify the right venue. Like there's nothing worse than spending your time in the wrong places. So you need to understand like where is the best venue? What is the most popular? Where do the most people go? What you want to find a place that has a lot of circulation and it has a lot of the type of people that you want to be commingling with, right? Like this isn't going to work if you're at like some bar that's just mostly old people and it's, you know what I'm saying? So you got to figure out wingman and figure out venue. Those are the only two things you need to be successful with this method. So what I call it is and I'm going to actually I'm going to get this copyrighted. It's called the back to the bar method. Okay. So if you have no status, if you're a dude that has low status, you can use this. So here's what you do. All right. So you go to the venue and you go inside, you walk up to the bar, and then you order a drink. You open up a tab, you order your drink, get a dirty martini if you're like me. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your drink and you're going to just immediately, instead of walking away from the bar and giving up your spot, you're going to turn around and just face your back to the bar. You're going to lean up against the bar and you're going to hold that spot. You're going to hold court. All right. So, what you're going to try to do is as people are leaving and moving, you want to kind of inch your way over to the corner. If there's ever like a corner spot, you want to try to be on one side or the other on the corner. So try to get there first, but if you can't, start in the middle and work your way in. All right, so here's what we're doing here is we're going to keep a really low footprint. Now, what's going to happen is the dynamic is basically what you're creating is a dynamic. So the dynamic here is a break in rapport with the environment. All right. So what's happening? Like people are coming up to the bar trying to get a spot. You're posted at the bar facing the opposite direction. So it's a break in rapport. And what you're essentially doing here is you're actually challenging the environment. So what this really is going to be an exercise in holding frame. So this is what you're going to notice is going to happen is when you're facing to the back of the bar and you're posted up and you're chilling and you've got a somewhat expansive body language, you're going to notice that there's going to be a certain percentage of people that it's going to ruffle their feathers a little bit. It's going to frustrate people a little bit. Okay. It's going to not necessarily make people angry, but people are going to notice and it's going to rub some people kind of the wrong way because we're challenging the environment. All right. So we're creating a break in that rapport. Now, this actually ends up going both ways. So what happens is because of the fact that you're going to be getting frame tested constantly, right? There's going to be people that are like, trying to like figure out what you're doing, trying to figure out why you're doing it. And again, you want to have a wingman, so you're doing it as a two man. What happens is that you're not moving around. All right. You're not going around the bar. You're not walking around a bunch. You're holding court. And so here's where the positive benefits come in is there's also going to be a certain percentage of people, specifically women, that see your frame and that is demonstrating a high quality characteristic. Like it just shows that you are willing to challenge the status quo. So you will have women that are directly approaching you, which has happened to us before, where women notice our demeanor. And again, this is all about carrying like that kind of bad boy vibe. Like you're almost like you're kind of giving off this energy that you don't care. You're giving off this aura, and it's like, you couldn't call it like big dick energy. But really, what this is actually all about is creating an inner mind state of assuming um, you're assuming some level of like entitledness, but then you're also wanting to develop a level of superiority. Okay, so that's what you're wanting to train your brain to do. That's what you're actually developing here in this process. Is you're developing a superiority complex, which you need, and then you're going to develop a little bit of a entitlement, right? So these are attractive qualities because they're a little bit dark triad. These are the characteristics that women will want to have in their children one day. So that's kind of the science behind it. But what'll happen is you'll get a direct interest. So that's one thing. But what's mostly going to happen is going to be indirect interest. So women are going to throw out little hooks and little lures, which means that they'll come, post up next to you. They'll stand a little bit around you. They'll give you a little bit of eye contact. They might say something super loud, which you can then latch onto. So what you'll notice is that you're not doing any cold approaching. You're not doing any like super beeline direct like openers where when you do that, the more you're doing that, you're giving away your level of interest and you're lowering your perceived level of value. So you want to think of yourself like the king, where everything that you're needing is going to come to you and it's going to be served to you, right? So these are the things that you're looking for, and you're going to have a lot more success. You're going to have a lot more fun if you can practice this, develop this, get good at this, develop that inner high value frame, let the environment challenge that frame. And what I'll say is like once in a while you will have a person that comes up, like typically a dude, and it's usually a pretty tall dude that probably has a strong frame as well, and he's going to be like, "Dude, what are you doing? Like are you getting a drink?" And if you get super super frame challenge and it's like going to become a problem or something, the thing that I like to do is like, yeah, brother, I am going to get a drink actually. and then I'll just turn around and I'll start facing the bar and act like I'm trying to get the bartender's attention and give that a couple of minutes. And by then that person will fuck off. You can go right back to what you're doing. So try this, guys. This is a really good technique. This is the best way that you could use your time if you're going to go out on a Friday night or Saturday night. Fuck all the cold approaching. You need to hold court, have a low footprint. It's the king mind state. Let's get it, baby. See you guys on the next video. Peace.